Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world. My name is Fisaya Fatuki, and I will be the anchor and the host of this event for today. It's 1 p.m. in Winnipeg, and I'm sure that we are all from different parts of the world right now. So I guess the very first thing that I will encourage you to do is, if you have joined us and you did not join with your full name, we would encourage you that you please just find that little button that says rename, and you can just change the name. So if you're joining with a device that just shows the name of your device, please feel free to change your name, and so we just know who's joining. And the interesting thing is there is a chat box right there that you can actually let us know where you're joining from. So if you want to go ahead right now and just say, hey, from Winnipeg, Manitoba, or from Saskatchewan, from London, Ontario, London, England, maybe, wherever you're joining us from, would like to know, please get in the chat and, just type and let's know where you are joining us from today. I will be looking closely at the chat. I just want to give a quick shout out to, yes, I see Grace from the USA. I see Amos from Liverpool, United Kingdom. Dele Ola from Winnipeg, joining all the way from Abuja, Nigeria. That's Opemi Unifade, Bimbola Gold from Winnipeg, Fred from Winnipeg as well, Amber from Winnipeg, Damola from Winnipeg, and Damola is even saying hello to everyone. Felucia from Winnipeg, the Oshobas are joining us all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. So it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful thing that we're doing today. I see Barry from Winnipeg. Timmy, Dr. Timmy says from Winnipeg. And I must say, in case you're not joining us from Winnipeg, it is cold and snowy in Winnipeg. But that's not what we're here to do today. But it's just, it's great to have everyone joining us today. So thank you. Thank you very much for taking out time to be part of the event today. We've got quite a few things lined up for everyone who's joining us today. I will be introducing the author shortly, and then we'll talk a little bit about the book. We've got a keynote address to be delivered today by one of Dele's very good friend, and I'll get to that in a second. We will be doing some portion of the book today, so there will be book reading. And I just want to say that you are in for a treat today, because we're going to have a panel that is going to have a quick discussion about the book and about some other interesting topics. So please be on the lookout for that. We will also want to encourage those who have read the book to chime in at some point. I mean, I'll let you know when the time is right for you to provide some comments about your experience reading the book. And then today, because it's also a book launch, you will have an opportunity to buy the book real time, live, while the event is on. So get your wallets close by, get your credit cards or whatever you need to do, and be prepared for when we get to that section of the event today to do live purchase of the book. We will give you some more information closer to that time. We'll also have an opportunity to ask questions from the author today. And did you get in your email that there will be prizes to be won today? So we will have some cool and fantastic prizes as well. So just watch out. You never know, your name might be called. You might be one of the winners of the prizes that we have today. And then, so without further ado, I would like to go to the next segment of the event. And I just want to introduce to you our very, very special friend. So many of you know him. That's why you are here today. So allow me to just introduce to you the author of the book that we're launching today. And I'll read a quick bio. Please listen. Dr. Dele Ola is the award-winning author of Be a Change Agent, Leadership in a Time of Exponential Change. Publisher of Prowess Leadership Newsletter, a change leader, and an accomplished professional engineer. He does it all. His passions include corporate leadership, personal growth, skills development, and technological innovation. Dr. Ola started his leadership journey with Accenture, a global Fortune 500 company, before earning his Doctor of Philosophy in Mechanical and Manufacturing Engineering from the University of Manitoba, the prestigious University of Manitoba. Eventually transitioning to applied research in aerospace and manufacturing at Red River College Polytechnic. After many significant contributions, he became director of the Technology Access Center for Aerospace and Manufacturing, serving as a major contributor to applied research leadership. Dr. Ola has held many leadership positions and served on the board of several prominent organizations. He won the 2016 Research Excellence Bravo Award, and his book, Be a Change Agent, won the business category of the 2021 Next Generation Indie Book Awards. An active leader in innovation and applied research, Dr. Ola continues to lead change in his work. His vision is to develop change agents to challenge the status quo, take charge of the future, and evolve into what they are meant to be in life. Dr. Ola has been an encourager to many. He's been a challenger to most people that know him. And, you know, I'm just proud to know him and not just to be friends with him, but to call him family. So please, with joy in your hearts, help make welcome Dr. Dele Ola.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Fisayo, for that introduction. And I want to thank you very much again, Fisayo, for letting us do this again this year, because we were here together last year. One of my philosophies in life is that you are mostly useful if you are available when you are mostly needed. And that's what you've demonstrated over the years, and I'm grateful for that. And that goes for every one of us that is present here today. There is no happenstance in life. There are no real accidents at all. You are here for a reason. I'm here for a reason. And I want to believe that the reason we are all here is not just because you love me. It's also because we are all supporting a worthy cause, something that is greater than all of us. So we are not here just because we are friends or we are family. We are here for a movement. We are here for a cause that is greater than all of us. Now, this is not just about book buying and book selling. Just think about the impact that the content of the book can make in the world. And it's not everybody that thinks the same way that we all think. There is a reason you joined the call today. You are thinking in a certain way for you to join the call. But I want to let you know that in the course of promoting this book, we got a lot of no's from people. No, 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 no. But the reality is that we got yes from you. And that matters more to us than anything else. So I'm so very grateful that all of us are here today to celebrate. Now, you know that at this time last year, we were here, around the same time, same place, celebrating the launch of Be a Change Agent. But why another book within a short period of time? Why just 1 year apart? Why are we talking about another book? Some of you that were around last year, you will remember that this is not new at all, because many of my friends actually challenged me on the program last year, asking about the book that I was writing. So this book was way further along at that time, maybe about half done during the time of the launch of Be a Change Agent. So it's not anything new at all. And why am I even doing all these things? I have a burning desire in my heart to share what I've discovered about life with everyone that will listen to me. And I said will listen to me because there are so many voices out there, right? So we have to choose which voice we listen to. But I think that I've unearthed a pot of gold, and I think I need to share that with the whole world. What I'm doing right now will become part of my own legacy. And I want to believe that you're also spending your time on what will become your legacy too. Now, let's talk about the pursuit of personal leadership. This book, Practical Principles of Personal Achievement. For those of you that have read chapter 1 of the book, whether by downloading that chapter from my website or by acquiring the book or getting the book one way or the other, and you've read a part of the book, you've gone through chapter 1, you will notice that I started on an emotional note. Now, the opening of that chapter was so emotional, but it's a real story. It's a true story, something that really happened to me, because in August of 2020, I was sitting down there in my office in the basement, and I started thinking about my life. I started thinking about the lives of people that are close to me, people that are within my circle, outside my circle. I looked at my life map, and I was trying to ask some fundamental questions. And part of it is, what is actually responsible for people being successful and having great achievements in this life? And it's so amazing that I had to wait for that long to be able to really lay hold of the essence of that, or to really know exactly what is responsible for success. You will know that there are so many books out there, and you have read them, I've read them. One thing I've tried to do in pursuit of personal leadership is to break these principles down to something that is practicable enough so that someone, an average individual, can pick up the book and use what is in there. Now, let me establish a truth for you. When we talk about the future, all of us look at the future like something that is ahead of us. But the reality is that your future is not ahead of you so that you start trying to play a catch-up game with it. It is not ahead of you. Everyone's future is trapped inside of them. We all have potentials. We all have abilities. And the way we succeed in life is to harness that potential, is to exploit that potential, is to use what we have to become whom we are meant to be. Now, I will not be able to summarize the whole book for you, but there is a major concept that serves as the foundation for the entire book, and I will mention it to you. It is the fact that, as a matter of principle, the world must make room for a person who has discovered and has the desire and the determination to develop and exploit their gifts, their talents, their abilities, in order to establish themselves in whatsoever they are determined to be their exact purpose and calling in life. The truth is that if you have found your calling in life, you found your purpose, and you are ready to exploit your own gifts, your innate abilities, to establish yourself in that purpose, the world must make room for you. Now, there are 11 chapters in Pursuit of Personal Leadership, and I will not go over each one of them. In chapter 1, I laid the foundation, the context for the entire book, and calling you to let us think about those principles together. In chapter 2, I talked about discovering your personal identity. This is a topic you will not find in many of the mainstream leadership literature. So I decided to delve a little bit into that. In chapter 3, I talked about developing your life's blueprint. There is nobody that will build an edifice without having a plan. So why do we think our lives should be different? Why do we think that we can build something remarkable without a plan? In chapter 4, I talked about cultivating a personal leadership attitude. You've heard that attitude is everything, but I like to say that there are so many other things that are everything. But when it comes to personal leadership, attitude is critical. In chapter 5, I talked about establishing yourself in your life's work. What is the difference between life's work and job? What is the overlap between the two? And how can we even find our life's work? In chapter 6, I talked about exploiting your creative thinking ability. Central to everything that we do in life, and whoever we would become in life, is the way we think. The way somebody thinks is the way they become. You cannot, if in your mind you have not reached the top of Everest in your mind, you cannot expect to get there in reality. So in chapter 7, I talked about exploring the world of possibilities. There are so many opportunities around us. There is nothing like luck in real life. And I try to establish that very carefully. So there are so many opportunities around us, but how do we make ourselves visible to them? In chapter 8, I talked about understanding the seasons. I came up with what I call the 5 seasons of personal leadership. And this is different from the cycles of nature, like the seasons that we experience in life or something, the seasons of personal leadership are unique. In chapter 8, I talked about becoming a role model. And in chapter 9, I talked about leaving a legacy. And these are the overarching reasons for our success in life. The reason you are successful is not to amass wealth to yourself or to just get something for yourself. It's about making the world a better place. So what footprint are you going to leave in the world? And in chapter 10, chapter 11, I try to tie everything together in what I call where to go from here. So it is the reality that every one of us has a responsibility to rise up, to shape up, and to stand out through our pursuit of personal leadership. That would be my introduction for now. I'm sure you're going to be hearing more as we go through the program today. I will hand it back over to Fisayo. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic, Dele. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for that charge. I'd actually call it a charge. I know you said it's an introduction in itself, but I don't know if everyone on the call is like myself. I had to get my pen out and, I was taking notes as, Dele was walking through all of that. And I think one of the things that is said is, this is a movement. This is a challenge to all of us, right? It's a call to say, let's all be on this journey together. If you notice the way Dele started, he said, for everyone who will care to listen, right? Because he's got a message for everyone, and that's a message he's sharing through this book, The Pursuit of Personal Leadership. So it's a call to action for all of us to step up. I have a mantra as well that everyone is a leader, right? We can all build that leadership capability that is in all of us, because our world needs more leaders. If we get more leaders who know what they're doing and they know how to step up, then the world will be a better place for everyone. So please rise up to the occasion today, take on this challenge, and let's go on this journey together, like Dele just admonished all of us to do. And we are just about to get into our keynote address for today. And I have the honor and the privilege of introducing to you who our keynote speaker is. Dr. Amos Fadokun is an associate professor in pharmacology and neuroscience. He's currently based at Liverpool John Moores University in the United Kingdom, but has worked at several different institutions across the world, including the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in the United States. He's a public speaker and has mentored several individuals who themselves are now leaders in various capacities. He believes true and functional leadership will produce enduring, transformative impact and must be characterized by, amongst other things, excellence, wisdom, selflessness, honesty, discipline, courage, and a genuine interest in people. Dr. Fadokun loves reading and writing and plays some musical instruments. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Amos Fadokun for his keynote address.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. And it's a great privilege for me to have been asked to speak for a few minutes about the book. And wherever you are in the different parts of the world, I bring greetings to you. I'm currently in Liverpool in the United Kingdom. And I'm going to be speaking in two parts, actually, this afternoon or this night where I am residing. So I'm going to be speaking about the author himself, because in a sense, there is no way you want to dissociate a book from the author, because you can see the injection of, the nature of the author into the writing. And so when you see through the different lines, the different pages of a book that is written, it is possible to be able to use the lens of who the author is to be able to interpret the content and the implications of that book. So I'm going to speak briefly about him, but I'm then going to shift attention to the book itself, which I have had the honor and privilege to go through. And I'm very grateful to the author, Dr. Dele Ola, for giving me that privilege. And of course, he has even also kindly sent me a hardcover copy of the book. And just as evidence, I'm just raising it up for you to see here. And that's an autographed copy. So I'm one of the very lucky ones who very early on got a copy of the book. Thank you very much indeed for that. Now, in terms of the author, Dr. Dele Ola, I've known him for, I think, more than 2.5 decades, actually, when we were together at the University of Ife. Well, we call it Obafemi Awolowo University in Nigeria. So there we belonged to the same Christian fellowship, and we served together. And after I left the university, a time came when he decided to share some of his future plans with me. And I'm grateful that he did that. And it gave me the privilege to be able to contribute some levels of advice to how he could travel in terms of fulfilling all those ambitions. And one of the things I can say confidently about him is that he's very dogged in the pursuit of excellence. And so that shines through the book itself. He hasn't spoken about the things that he hasn't experienced before. So it's a reflection of his personality. And he was able to bring all of that into a coherent form, helping the reader to look through and have great nuggets of wisdom that can inspire them and that can help them to understand how to be able to travel also in the pursuit of personal leadership. Now, when he began to seek the fulfillment of those plans of his, incidentally, and as you find in most of our experiences in life, he met a lot of roadblocks. So there were headwinds that he had to fight against. And some of them were very, very difficult, but he continued passionately, and eventually he was able to overcome all those hurdles. And he went into Canada to pursue higher degrees. And I think Canada has actually gained an uncommon personality in terms of the contributions that he is beginning to make to the life of the nation, but also the way he is beginning to let that impact be, broadcast all abroad. And so I know him personally to a significant level, that he is somebody who believes in excellence, who has passion for excellence, and who has in several ways, as you have been told when they were reading out his citation, demonstrated that quality of excellence and the capacity to be able to influence many others to do the same. So that's about Dr. Dele Ola. And then coming to the book. Now, what I can say about the book is you are not going to only meet the text or the texture or the color or the language, all of which have been masterfully woven into an excellent masterpiece, an uncommon consistency that provides you that kind of inspiration. But you're going to also meet the person of the author. So Dr. Dele Ola very powerfully and meticulously introduces us into his personal world of leadership. He shares passionately his experiences across different dimensions of occupations, different dimensions of relating with several different people. And so it gives us the opportunity to come into his world and to enjoy the richness that he has built over years. Now, he not only does that, he also gives us the opportunity to then meet with several people who have distinguished themselves in different walks of life. And some of them from centuries past, all the way through to our contemporary times. And they belong to different disciplines. You see examples of people in music, people in medicine, people in aviation, people in sports, and so even in mathematics. And that's one of the very unique features of this book, that it doesn't restrict you to just a narrow focus, but it widens your understanding, and it draws from examples across different dimensions of life. So it gives you a very, very broad perspective. It is a book of principles. Principles in the pursuit of personal leadership. And as I said, there are 11 chapters. The first 10 chapters will take you through the principles. And then the 11th is a kind of a crescendo that tasks you or compels you to reflect on all the things that you have read and for you to take action and consider what in the future or in the now you have to do yourself to really be true to the spirit of the work that you have read. Now, the book is very comprehensive, it's insightful, and is incisive. It is inspirational, it is motivational. Now, I could say that it marries, in a sense, some level of theory and practice. And one of the distinctions he emphasizes is the fact that in the mainstream literature for leadership, there isn't really that theme that looks at personal leadership. And I see it as leadership of self. If you're going to help others to discover who they are, you must have discovered who you are. So the ability for self-discovery allows you to be able to then draw many others into your world of leadership and influence them beneficially to be able to then project by realizing their own selves and then using that to influence many others for impact. So I think the book also blends different contexts, different scenarios, different dimensions of life. And so it helps you to be able to relate whatsoever you read to any of the dimensions of your pursuit. And every one of us has something to get from there. So it's a book of principles. And it is a book that does not shy away from the fact that there are challenges, but it challenges you to understand the reality of how to transform yourself by first of all discovering who you are, and then committing yourself to those principles of excellence in order to be able to make use of the gifts, the talents, the abilities that you have got to attain that dimension of personal excellence, or some people will say success, whatever you want to call it. So this is a book that gives you the opportunity to realize all of those. And I think that the author has also shown that it's a very good teacher. It's somebody who knows how to help people to consolidate whatever they have learned. So in each of those 11 chapters, at the end of it, you find 5 discovery questions. And these are questions that will help you to dig deeper into yourself in significant reflections to be able to ensure that you can apply the principles that you have read into your own life. And at the far end of the book, you have a bonus too, which are about 57 inspirational questions that will even take you further in your own contemplation. And all of these are meant to give you the opportunity to embed whatsoever you have read. And finally, this is a book that is practical. This is a book that gives you the uncommon opportunity to ask yourself some hard questions. And for me, it has given me the opportunity to validate some of the principles I have believed for many, many years. And also, it has given me the opportunity to project myself in my thinking and to get into further realms where I can explore influencing many others through my own self-discovery. So I recommend this book to anyone. It is going to transform your life. It is going to challenge you, no doubt about that. But it is going to present you an excellent array of inspirations. The whole book is dotted with several inspirational quotes. As you read along, it is going to draw you into his world. It is going to help you to see contemporary perspectives when it comes to leadership. And it is a book that there's no way you have an encounter with it and you will remain the same. So I encourage you not only to get a copy for yourself, but to also get copies for many others who I believe are going to be transformed by going through that book. So again, thank you very much, Dr. Dele Ola, for giving me the opportunity to have been through the book and to be able to say a few things about it. Thank you, and over to the coordinator.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amos Fatokun. And I don't know, I think I'm beginning to feel like maybe I should go get a PhD right now too, because you just spoke like eloquently, and you know, I was just glued to the screen, and I'm thinking, wow, what a great and a bright mind. And you know, I appreciate the fact that you actually broke your keynote into two parts, right? You talked about the author himself, and then you talked about the book. And you know, for everyone who have not had an opportunity to read that book, see, Dr. Amos Fatokun just gave you a good summary and, you know, a teaser into what to expect from the book. And, you know, there's a structure to the book in itself, in that as you read every chapter, at the end of every chapter, there's something for you to think over and some action items in that as well before you move to the next chapter. So please get ready. If you haven't bought the book yet, you need a copy for yourself. If there are people around you that you're thinking they should be partakers of this great and treasured composition, start thinking about them, and you know, think of how you can be a blessing to those people. Once again, thank you, Dr. Fatokun, for sharing with us out of your wealth of experience today. We will quickly go into the next item, but I just want to say that if you joined us later on after we've started the event, thank you for joining. If you don't mind, I mean, in the chat there, just let us know where you're joining from. You can just mention the city and the country. That should be good enough. We just want to see where people are joining us from. And then if you join with a device that just has the device name, just to let you know, we're going to do some giveaway prizes, and we want to know who you are that you've joined today. So please, if you can just rename so we can identify properly who has joined us today. See, Dr. Ola is not just doing well for himself, or, you know, I know the family so well. And, you know, today we have the honor and, you know, the pleasure of having Dr. Ola's daughter, who is going to spend a few minutes, and, you know, she's going to give us another teaser into the book. So we're getting into the book reading portion of today's event, and who else than the great Dele Ola herself. Please take it away, Dele.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for attending this book launch. My name is Dele Ola, and I am here to help my dad read from his favorite chapter in the book. I'm reading the introductory part of the 6th chapter. Chapter 6, Exploit Your Creative Thinking Ability. The world always seems brighter when you've just made something that wasn't there before. Neil Gaiman. If you keep coloring within the boxes and writing on the lines, you may never be able to do something remarkable. Break your spirit free to explore. Bernard Calvin Clive. In principle, your ability to think creatively is one of the most important contributors to your chances of succeeding in anything. What it takes to stand out from the crowd and do something extraordinary or outstanding is not as daunting as we assume. Many of us engage our minds in average value thoughts because truly only a handful of humans have a genius in anything. But we do not necessarily need the ingenuity of Albert Einstein or the artistry of Beethoven to get ahead in life. I observe that most people remain in mediocrity because they assume creativity is exclusive to a certain class of individuals. Yet if you deviate even slightly from the average thinking, you can earn the future you have always dreamed of. Let me give you an example. I was in a meeting with some stakeholders of various organizations in winter 2021. The meeting was winding down when the moderator asked the attendees to share new things going on in their lives or careers. I decided to use that opportunity to tell them about my book, Be a Change Agent, Leadership in a Time of Exponential Change. Though everyone was positive and encouraging, one attendee made a comment that stunned me. This person congratulated me and then said, I cannot even think of writing a book. Note that the person did not say, I don't have the potential to write a book, but I cannot even think. Writing a book requires that we think about it first. Writing a good book requires creative thinking, and you need to step out of everyday average thinking to do it. Creativity is using our imagination to bring about something new, original, or unusual. It all starts with creative thinking, and note the word unusual. That implies that there are many regular or usual things out there. The world is full of similar things simply replicated by the majority. We are also used to our current environment, to normal, to usual, to ordinary, that we need to step out of our current thinking to become creative. Creative thinking is an ability we must deliberately cultivate and intentionally exploit. Every one of us has the potential to develop our creative thinking ability. Whenever the word creativity is used, we tend to think only about forming or making something entirely new or novel, something that has not been done before. Or we think about those fabulously talented artistic folk who paint or whittle or blow glass. While that is partly true, we need to understand that our creative thinking can also result in the discovery, innovation, or creation of something new out of what is available. A discovery may be something entirely new, a product, process, or idea that has not been used or found before, such as when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Or creative thinking could unearth a new way of doing something or a way to make something easier. Innovation is often confused with invention, but it actually refers to adapting something that already exists. Innovation takes an existing idea, concept, or invention to a completely new level. Let's look at an example. The LED light bulb was an invention, but we can record its use in car headlights as an innovation. The electric motor was an invention, but its use in powering machinery required adaptation. In other words, innovation. Many music styles, jazz, hip-hop, rock, classical, Afrobeat, were invented but have been adapted by innovative musicians over the years. Artistry inventions such as stained glass, sculpture, oil, painting, and pottery are still being innovatively used today. The reality is that most of us may not necessarily discover something brand new. Some will harness their creative thinking ability to break new ground and make discoveries, while others will use innovative thinking to improvise and bring about other ideas, concepts, products, processes, and solutions based on what already exists. Both discovering and innovating are results of creative thinking. Here are 9 characteristics of creative thinking. 1, creative thinking requires an imagination and hard mental work. If it was easy to come by, someone would have found it a long time ago. 2, creative thinking involves questioning norms and attempting to answer questions. 3, creative thinking usually deviates from, builds upon, or defies conventional or rational thinking. 4, creative thinking makes the thinker see things the way they could be rather than the way they are. 5, creative thinking helps connect the dots, bringing unconnected things together to define something meaningful. 6, creative thinking is open to ambiguity, uncertainties, and alternatives without trying to align with the perfect picture of anything. 7, creative thinking is aware of facts, principles, and reality and seeks ways to leverage existing ideas in an unusual way. 8, creative thinking produces new or unusual ideas and sometimes manifold ideas, which have the potential to lead to discoveries, inventions, and innovations. 9, creative thinking leads to more creative thinking. This is the end of the introductory part of chapter 6, but the chapter does go on to explain creative thinking in 4 sections. Section 1 is to develop your capacity for creative thinking. Section 2 is to become a steward of your creative thinking. Section 3 is to exchange your creativity for value. And section 4 is to think creatively for positive change. If you would like to read these sections along with the rest of the book, I encourage you to go find yourself a copy of Pursuit of Personal Leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Dele Ola. And that was just beautifully read. Thank you. And like Dr. Fatukun said, I also have a copy of my book right here. And as Neil was reading, I was also flipping through the pages as well. it's just a great book. And I love, I mean, the way things are like laid out in the book. It makes for an easy read and you can easily follow along. I did say something the other time because we were trying to figure out where are people joining from, and I was looking at the charts. Thank you, everyone. I see that there are people joining all the way from London, England, Calgary, Winnipeg here. Lots of people from Winnipeg. I see Calgary. I see all the way from the United States as well, Calgary, Winnipeg, and Mississauga, Ontario. Thank you everyone for being part of this. Just to let you know, the next item on our agenda, we are going to have like a sneakers panel. That's what we've called it. And these are people who had a sneak peek to the book when the book was still being like read, and they contributed to the review of the book. So you can imagine those people that, you know, spent countless hours like poring over the book again and again and again before it became the final product that we can all enjoy today. So I will introduce quickly our panelists to us. I've got 3 people on the panel, and then I've got our very own Ruth Ola, who will be moderating the panel session as well. So I've got the first panelist is Remi Adedapo. She is a senior project engineer at the City of Winnipeg Water and Waste Department, and she's also a family friend of Dele's. I've also got Fred Duan. Fred happens to be Dele's former supervisor, and he is a retired chair of research at Red River College Polytechnic. And last but not the least, I've got Dr. Tolu Shajobi, who is an associate professor and a senior research statistician, community health sciences and clinical neurosciences at the University of Calgary. He is Dele's close friend of 23 years, actually. And Dele's right-hand person, Dele's best friend and better half, Ruth Ola, who is a quality systems manager at KGS Group. And she's been married to Dele for 15 years, but I believe that they've been friends for way longer than that. Those are our panelists, and you know, I'll turn it over to you, Ruth, to lead us in the next segment.
Thank you, Fisayo, for the warm introduction. And I believe you'll be seeing the 4 of us on your screen shortly as Fisayo bring everyone on your screen. So what we'll be doing right now is these people have been privileged to be part of the journey, actually, because as Dele was finishing the raw draft, they got the opportunity to see it. So they can tell you what it was and what it is right now. And that's why we are bringing them here today to share the story with you. So I'll be asking them some questions so that they can tell us what it is and how it all went. So, okay, we're waiting for Dr. Tolu to join us on the screen. There we go. Thank you. All right, my first question will be, when you read this book for the first time, what was your first impression? And I bet you have one big takeaway that really made you to want to do this. So with that, please allow me to do ladies first. I'll go to Remi to get us started. Unmute yourself.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be part of this panel. It's an honor, and also the honor of reviewing the book. So when I read the book, it went home for me because it was personable and it was also an easy read. So the big takeaway for me is in chapter 9 and 10, and that's about becoming a role model and leaving a legacy. So we all know that we're being read and watched, you know, by everybody around us, and knowingly or unknowingly, we can be a positive role model or even a negative one, as it could be. So I was talking to a friend yesterday, actually, and we were talking about how one could actually be and somebody could actually be a negative role model. So if we're being read as a book, why don't we just make that determination, that intention to influence positively? So with this experience, we can etch a positive influence into people's minds based on their experiences and leave a lasting legacy in their world of experience. So that's one thing I took away from the book. Thanks, Ruth.
Okay, I hope you're taking notes because this will be nuggets from the book. All right. I will, and sorry, I forgot to tell you the ground rule. It's about a minute for your question and response. So with that, I'll go to Fred. I'm glad to see you and meet you on the screen. I didn't meet you when you were still my husband's boss, but I'm honored to be asking you a question. Can you imagine that? Let's hear from you, Fred.
Well, it's good to meet you as well, Ruth. I remember waving to you in the car as you drove by our place at times. The first thing that I would like to say is when I received a copy of a manuscript for review. And when I received the copy, I was felt very honored that Dele would consider me for reviewing his manuscript. And I was not surprised that it was very well researched and quite detailed in terms of the documentation of his journey. But I perhaps gave him a little bit of constructive criticism as well. I said, you're trying to send a simple message, but you're using $54,000 words. I knew he was very articulate and well-versed through his Toastmasters, but there were some nuanced words within that I thought would make it for a more challenging read. And he assured me that he had very good editors. And I checked between the manuscript and the final copy, and he was right, he has very good editors. The other thing that I challenged him about, and it sort of builds on your daughter's comment, is I said, this is pretty good, Dele, but as I was reading through, I was making notes in the margin, and all of my notes turned out to be little concept maps, like where was the logic going? And Dele said, oh, that's right. He said, we developed lots of concept maps before we actually put the manuscript together. And so those are the things that I brought out. I think by and large, it's a very good read. I learned a lot, and it really focused and caused me to reflect and review on different leadership styles. And I thank you for the opportunity, Dele.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you for sharing that. And Tolu, we'll come to you.
Sure. Thank you, Dele and Ruth, for the opportunity to be part of the few privileged folks to review the book. One of the first things that stood out for me when I was reading the first draft was just that this is it. That was the first thing I said. For more than 20 years, Dele and I have always debated, discussed, argued, and discuss what success really is and how people can actually achieve success. And so when I write the first draft, the first thing that came out, this is actually the goal part, just like Dele called it. For success, we are in a generation where people are quick to copy another person. Oh, I want to be like Obama, I need to dress like him. I want to be like Mark Zuckerberg, I have to wear t-shirts. We follow more on the externals, but Dele got it right this time, as it's always been, to really dig deep into the key things that makes for success. What the big takeaway for me in the book is actually chapter 6, and I was very excited when I saw Dele Ola read that. We're in a generation where creative thinkers, not just hard workers, will be the successful one, right? And so seeing Dele write about creative thinking was a big one for me.
Thank you, Dr. Shajobi. And my follow-up question will be, I think you touched on it a little bit. What gap do you think this will fill in the society? I know Tolu is almost leading us into that, but I'd like to hear from you. And this time I'm going to go to Fred, because Fred is retired. So you've seen a lot. So now you can tell us what you think this book, what gap do you think it will fill for readers?
Well, I think one of the critical gaps is to understand the difference between a job and basically a life plan and a life's direction. To me, the book was all about enhancing the self-esteem and sense of purpose that we have. And even as I go into retirement, I now look back and say, so what was that really all about? And of all the different jobs and the things that I've done, what was really the end result? Because I think success is basically a function of being able to support human activity. And that was one of the notes I had made in the margins when I was reading the manuscript.
Thank you for sharing that. So I'll come to you, Remy. What gap do you think this book will fill?
Thank you so much. I feel that a gap that can be filled can be found in chapter 2, and that's discovering your, I'm probably not quoting it well, but discovering your identity. We'll see that there's a quote that Dr. Dele quoted in the book, and I'll read it off, and it's by St. Catherine of Siena, and she said, "Be who you're created to be, and you'll set the world on fire." So once we discover identity, we'll find confidence in ourselves, and we'll be comfortable in our own skins. So in my opinion, that's a gap that the book is filling in the society, at least one of them. Because until we know who we really are, we cannot begin to discover that what we're really capable of doing. And this eventually leads into an intentional leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll come to you, Dr. Shajabi. Share your view, please.
Yeah, I think the book fills many gaps, but most importantly, it fills the gap for a new generation of leaders that are needed in our generation these days. Many of the problems that we have globally are issues that has to do with failure of leadership. And so many people, we tend to focus on externalities around leadership. And this book actually addresses the fact that you cannot be a leader out there until you learn to lead yourself. And so the practical steps and approaches and the process of developing your personal leadership that Dele talks about is something that our generation needs right now.
Thank you, Dr. Shajabi, for sharing that. I wish we can go on and on, but I have just one more question on my list. And the question I have is, we have about 93 people on this call listening today, and I know maybe they have like 2, 3, 4, 5 people behind the scene looking at us today. What advice do you have for readers that as they read this book, this is one thing you'd like them to pay attention to? Over to, let's start from Tolu, because I've been coming in last.
Okay. The advice I would give that this is not a book that you just rush to read. And so I have like 4 steps that I think will help you maximize the truths that are embedded in this book. Number 1, you've got to read and you've got to spend time to meditate. So don't just rush through the chapters. Read first, meditate, and Dele has actually done a good job of having some reflection questions. So meditate, reflect, and then try and apply what you've read, and also then read again. You know, these are some of the truths here will take time to really digest and go over. And if something that will also help you is if you want to discuss with your spouse, with your friends, and make this book something that can be a workbook. I hope that Dele will come up with a workbook at some point very soon, and how people can actually apply this. So.
Thanks, Delu, for sharing that. And Remy, I'll come to you this time.
Thank you. I'll piggyback on what Tolu has said, but piggybacking on it in terms of the way Dr. Dele has laid out the book. So he's got questions at the end of it. And my suggestion is, as you read it, the book can also be used as within a book club in which you can read it chapter by chapter and discuss using the questions. And I do agree with Tolu that it's not a book that you shelve. It's a book that you can use in seasons of your life. So you can use it as a reference. So that is my encouragement. It's an easy book. It's personable. I like it. I told him that it's one of my favorite books of his so far. Thank you.
All right, thanks for sharing that. And I'll come over to Fred. What will be your advice for readers?
Read it and then read it again, and then reflect and read it again. I think I have to basically repeat Dr. Sajobi's comments that it's a book that takes a while to work your way through it. A quick skim through the book is not sufficient. You have to actually try and work through the discovery questions at the end of each chapter. And if you spend that time and reflect, and then come back and review the concepts again, it'll mean so much more to you and to your family and others around you.
Thank you very much. And if I might add my 2 cents, if you're reading the book, I'm reading it for, I don't know, 4th time. So I was always reading every page, every chapter as we were going through it. So whatever number I'm reading right now, I'm still learning something. And that will be all that we're going to discuss on this panel. Thank you everyone for listening. I will pass it on back to you, MC. Thank you, Fisayo.
Thank you. Thanks, Ruth. Thanks to our panelists. Thank you, Remy, Tolu, and Fred. See, I mean, David did not just invite all those people. I think he actually brought Fred out of retirement, and that's an interesting one. So thank you all for taking out of your time to actually be here today. We will go into taking some live comments from readers, but I just want to say that if you have read the book and you just want to share a comment in 30 seconds to 1 minute maximum, just use that icon to put up your hand, and I will call on you and you'll be able to share your comments live. But you don't necessarily have to say it live. If you want to just type it in the chat, that is also welcome. If you have a comment about the book, you've read the book, please feel free to just type your comments in the chat and put something out there. And while we're going to take some of those comments from readers, we would also like to start buying copies of the book live, because that's one of the reasons why we're here today. We're here to launch the book. I did not only have my personal copy of the book, I actually purchased a few for some people that I just feel, you know what, you really need to read what Dele has put together here. So very shortly, Ruth is going to also share some of the links in the chat for us all to be able to make purchases. So there is Amazon Canada and the US as well. You see the links right there that you'll be able to just do the purchase right away. And guess what? They've also made provision for some of us that would desire to have like an orthographed copy of the book. You really want Dele to write a personal note to someone that you want to gift this to. There is also a link that will be posted in the chat for us to make a request that Dele autographs a personal copy for someone that you truly want to gift this book to. So while the chat will be buzzing with links and comments, I'd like to throw it open for a few people to share their comments about the book. And please remember that I said between 30 seconds to 1 minute maximum. Share your comments. And I can see Fiogo putting up his hand as the first person. Please go ahead, Fiogo, and share your comments.
Yeah, thank you, Fisayo, and congratulations to Dr. Dele for the book. I have an autograph, and very quickly, this is a very interesting one. When I was going through the book, I didn't know I would have this opportunity, but I just jotted some stuff down and on my reflection here. So one of the things that I love about the book is very simple. Someone has said that, and the words used, are spot on, and you can read and understand, that. Again, because of that, it makes it very appealed to read, and it's once you pick up the book, for those who have not, you don't want to drop it once you start to read the book. You just want to go, okay, what is next, what is next, what is next. And for me here, I see that the title of the book could even pass for pursuit of personal success. You know, you put that as leadership. I know you can't succeed without leadership, but that will pass as a nugget for success, the way they were actually laid down. And again, I'm not surprised the way some of the words that were used, such as design thinking. I think that reflects the background of Dr. Dele. You know, it's common to say, hey, go and succeed, but without giving one the template to actually succeed. So I love the way he laid it down. You know the step, what you need to, to do, what you need to do next, what you need to do, and that makes it very, very simple. And again, I also love some of the key words that he used, which is very powerful. One of them that I jotted here is, he said, a key to success is that personal leadership requires design thinking that I talked about. And that is it. And the book is relatable because when I read some of the things, some of the instances it gave, I could reflect that to my own personal life and how, you get to where you get to. And the power of vision, I must not, leave that part of it. So you actually bring it down. You could, what looks abstract, it made it very, very simple. Hopefully we'll get to the point where we need to ask some questions. So I will leave that for that. For me, the book actually passed for, formula to succeed in life. And I will recommend that it's something people should read because it serves as a mentor, even as a mentor, as a guide to people you are trying to guide, and it will help you to validate what you've been telling them and achieve their success in life. Thank you, Dr. Dele, and congrats.
Thank you, Fiogo. I gave you 30 seconds, but I love what you did actually. And, and maybe that's why I didn't stop you at the 60-second mark. It showed that you truly digested the book because you made notes and, some of those notes are the things that you highlighted. So thank you for that, Fiogo. I could see some people adding comments already that they've made their purchase. Woo-hoo! Thank you. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, Ruth posted those links in there. You can get on right now. Please purchase copies of the book and, just drop another message in the chat to let us know that you have actually made a purchase. We want to just say thank you. Thank you for doing that right away. And to your question, Fiogo, yes, we're going to have a few minutes right after this to ask some questions from the author. So if you're thinking about a question, please make a note of that. In another few minutes, we'll be getting to that. I just want to highlight and mention something to everyone. I've heard great comments about this book. People have said great things about the book. But we want to encourage you that please, please, and please do not keep these comments to yourself. On any of the links through which you can purchase this book, one of the greatest things that you can also do for Dr. Dele on this book is to actually add a comment directly by reviewing the book either on Amazon or any of those links through which you can make this purchase. And what does that do? It will encourage others to buy. Some people buy based on reviews and 5 stars or 4 stars or whatever that is. And so you will be encouraging some other people to buy the book if you get on there and you please add your review, add your comment directly on the website. This will encourage others to buy. So please, we're encouraging you as you're making a purchase. If you've read the book as well, kindly leave a review, kindly leave some ratings on the website as well. The very first book that Dele wrote, I've got a copy of the book right here, Be a Change Agent. It is still selling. It's won multiple awards as well. And if you get on Amazon right now, this book has got 5 stars on there. It's rated 5 stars and people have put great reviews on there. So there's a copy of the first book. And this is the copy of the second book. So please make your purchases right now. Let us know in the comment section if you've made a purchase. Please let us know of your comments as well. I'm looking at the chat to see some people added comments in there. Thank you, Damola. I see your comment right there. I don't know if there's anybody else who wants to share a live comment. I can still give a few more people opportunity to do that before we actually get into the questions and answers for the author. Anybody else who wants to share a comment about the book? Anybody else? Okay, please keep your comments coming in the chat as well. If you prefer to just put it in the chat and not just say it verbally. We would like to welcome some questions right now. I believe Dr. Dele is ready to answer some of your questions if you have them ready. And I know that because Fiogo was waiting for a time like this, maybe I'll give you an opportunity to just ask your question directly right now, and Dr. Ola will be willing to take on your question and answer that right now.
Thank you, Fisaya. If only you knew no other people will make comment, maybe you would have given more time to make more of my comment, but that's okay. Yeah, Dr. Dele, thanks once again. The book is beautiful, no doubt. So, but when I was reflecting, I've not finished the whole book, but while I was reflecting on some of the pieces I've read, what came to my mind is you reflecting right now after concluding the whole book. Do you think that there's something missing, maybe something you will have put, you will have included in the book that maybe because of constraint of time or for whatever reason you couldn't include that there? And that lead me again to the other question: would that be a kind of another point that will be leading to the next book? So those are my questions.
Thank you very much, Fiogo, for that. And thank you for the great comments that you made earlier. I'm so grateful. We've been friends for a while, and I know you are passionate about these things too. So I was on a radio show yesterday morning, early in the morning between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. And one of the questions that I was asked live on the program related to people's perception about how many books have already been written to address something completely in an area. And I told them, I said, there were times when people have said that in leadership, all of the books have been written. Like there is nothing else that you can write in leadership again. But one of the things that Pursuit of Personal Leadership has done is to defy that concept, to say that when you talk about knowledge, it's an open-ended thing. 100 years ago, somebody could have said that all books on leadership have been written. But look at the last 100 years and what has happened. So when I look at Pursuit of Personal Leadership in the context of your question on whether there is anything missing, I will tell you what is missing. So Pursuit of Personal Leadership is just the beginning of a journey. So the book in itself has the content that is fit for now. But that is not, I would say, right as of today, that is the best book I've written. But it's not my best book ever. So it's an open-ended book. And what is missing there is that we still have many more books that are yet to be written after Pursuit of Personal Leadership. So this is just the beginning. And one of the concepts that I try to emphasize in the book is that when you talk about success, there is no particular destination. Your destination in itself is a journey. So there is no end. Human ability, human potentials are unlimited. We have an unlimited store of potentials, of gifts, of things that we can do. It's unlimited. So this book is just the beginning. What is missing there? There are books that are missing there, and those books that are missing there they don't have to be written by me. They could be written by you. They could be written by other people. There is no end to knowledge. So let's take it as the information that we have today, but tomorrow we will be able to build on what is already existing to pull out the things that have not been written. But that said, to make it practical, because it's a question, is there anything missing? Honestly, when I was writing the book, and Fiogo, I will remember that last year you asked a similar question. You asked me, you said, when did you know that the book is complete? That's the question you asked me. I still remember very well. When did you know that you should stop writing? And I told you that as an author, when you are writing, and you have been able to pass across the information that you really wanted to pass across, you will know. And only you can tell. Somebody else cannot help you to figure it out. There is a burning thing in your heart that makes you to want to write the book. And when that message has been passed across, you will know. So for Pursuit of Personal Leadership, when I was writing it, in fact, the editor told me that the last 2 chapters in the original manuscript, before we edited and we improved on it, told me that they looked like I was rushing the chapters. They looked like I just wanted to be done. Because by the third to the last chapter, excluding the last 2 chapters, I thought I'd passed across my information. But the last 2 chapters are for people that are still there looking for happiness, looking for fulfillment, thinking that there is a missing piece of something that they still cannot figure out. Even though they are successful, they have money, they have fame, they have everything, but something is still missing. And the key point that I emphasize in those last 2 chapters is that nobody, and I emphasize this, I said, no one can find fulfillment in this life until they begin to live for something that is bigger than them, something outside of them, something greater for the society. That is the only way we can find fulfillment. And once I've been able to say that in the last 2 chapters, talking about becoming a role model and leaving a legacy, I knew that that information I was trying to pass across was complete. So that's why the book was wrapped up there. But like I said, it's just the beginning. And if you look at the very last statement in the book, when you read chapter 11, I said it's the beginning of a new journey for you and for me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ola. Wow, what a way to answer the question. And I can see some hands are up. I will be calling on Ola Ibikunle to either ask a question or pass a comment. I'm not sure which one you want to do, but you know, Ola Ibikunle, please go ahead.
Hey, my name is Ola. Congratulations, Dele, for this. I put up a question earlier on. I wanted to know if you had an audio copy of this or audio version of the book. And if that's the case, how can we purchase that?
Yeah, Ola, thank you very much. Ola is my high school friend. We went to the same high school in Ibadan, Nigeria together. Thank you for coming. So the audiobook is not ready. We're still in our future. We're not in a hurry to produce the audiobook, but we're hoping that sometime later in the year that we're going to work on it. But as it is for today, we only have the paperback, the hardcover, and also the electronic book, which is available on Kindle, on Kobo, on a few other platforms. So we haven't made the audiobook yet, but it's still in the future. Thanks, Ola.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I've also got Dele Ola. Your hand is up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, let me say good work, great author, excellent editors, and also great organizer of this event, which has been so innovative and very capturing, and particularly our excellent MC and the panelists that just put us together, and that's touching keynote address. Congratulations once again to the author and every other one that has made this a reality. My question is really amplified when Inelua was reading chapter 6 of that. I've read a part of the book, but not sufficient enough to make an overall comment. And but when Inelua was reading that chapter, amplified this question in my heart. And my question is coming from the background of what Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9 and 10 says in the scriptures. Permit me to read in contemporary English version, which says, everything that has happened before. Nothing is new. Nothing is new under the sun. Someone might have said, here is something new, but it has happened before, long before we were born. No one who lived in the past is remembered anymore, and everyone yet to be born will be forgotten too. Now, my question is coming from the background of nothing new under the sun. And in chapter 6, you are talking about innovation, you are talking about invention, which really come to me to give a rethink that could it be that our struggle for invention is what is really not making us to eat our leadership capacity or what we want to do? Are you trying to suggest to us to work and pursue innovation, possibly in support of this background of the scripture? So what is that balance between invention and innovation? And what will somebody pursuing personal leadership will be advised in your perspective to really focus on in terms of invention or innovation? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a huge topic that you are delving into. And by the way, thank you so much, Uncle Dele, for coming up to speak this afternoon. So invention, innovation, which one should we focus on? So I don't think it's either or of the two. It all depends on our capacity. And what you quoted from the Bible, talking about there is really nothing new under heaven. It is true. There is nothing absolutely new anywhere. The truth is that most of the things that we see today, one way or the other, we've seen reflections of them in the past. One of the stories that I used in that chapter 6 was the story of the discovery of penicillin. And you'll notice that when I was talking about that story, I talked about the experiment that was done and how it looked a little bit accidental in the way the mold juice was discovered and later turned into penicillin. But in the same story, I did mention that in the ancient, some people have used proteins from bread with mold to treat wounds before. So that one, when they were doing it, they were doing a lot of great things inadvertently. They were doing it unknowingly. But it wasn't until later in the modern time when it was now made into a drug, into medicine, that can now be used by somebody. Right? So everything kind of goes in circle like that. But to the question of whether people should focus on invention or on innovation, I believe that everyone has a particular capacity that is peculiar to them, right? So everyone has a peculiar capacity that is peculiar to them. So some people will make inventions, okay, while some people will have to use innovation. It is not every one of us that will be able to do what the great scientists of old have done. If what you are
Sorry, you are muted.
Somebody has muted our author.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not sure why I was muted there. So only a few people in our world today will make a discovery. It's for a handful of people. But the truth is that all of us can innovate. We can all innovate. It's not everyone that can invent something new, but all of us can innovate. And what it takes for us to be innovative, we don't need to be like it was read in the book. You don't need the ingenuity of Albert Einstein or the artistry of Beethoven to become an innovative person. It's just trying to deviate from the average value thinking. What it really takes to stand out in life doesn't have to be something too big. It's not something impossible. It's just deviating slightly from that average value thinking. Everybody thinks the same way. But if you deviate slightly from that, you'll begin to see possibilities. So what is it that you have in your hand right now? And what can you do with that? It all requires thinking. So like I gave an example on the radio yesterday when we're dealing with one of the questions. And the example I gave was that I was approached by somebody who said they wanted to do a business and they're trying to raise money to do with the business. And this person was so much focused on the money, like give us money, give me money, let's get money. And I was like, so if we all gather money now, we give you $1 million today to start your business. What is the guarantee that after 1 year you will have that 1 million? And the reason I was asking that question was that this person has not demonstrated that they can run a $10,000 business. They have not even done anything to show that they can manage a $5,000 business. So my question to the fellow was that, what do you have now? Can you start with $1,000 and turn that to $1,500 and turn the $1,500 to $6,000 and continue to grow like that? That is organic. That is how businesses are grown. You don't start from the top. Just like Olumide Emmanuel said, he said that if you jump up, you will fall down. But if you grow up, you will stay up. And that's the way it is. So innovation, invention, it depends on where you are. And what matters the most is that you use what you have today to do what you need to do to move to the next level. Thank you, sir.
Wow. Thank you, Dele. That's a great way to answer a question. And I love the final quote that you used there. If you jump up, you're coming down, but if you grow up, you stay there. Thank you. There's a question here in the chat, and it is from Oluwaseun. My question is the book specific to some particular areas of leadership or all areas? Would you recommend the book to someone interested in running for a political office?
Thank you very much.
Good question.
So I would say the book is agnostic. It's not, you don't need to be in a particular walk of life to want to read the book. And I was very careful with that. So if you read chapter 1, I was trying to explain the class of individuals that the book is for. And when you read all the 4 different classes of people that I mentioned there, there is no way 95% of all of us on this call today will not fit into that category. That is not to say that every book is for everybody. It's an adult book. For example, if a 10-year-old reads the book, they probably will not understand everything that is in there. It's for people that are maybe between the ages of 18 and upward like that. So, but the reality is that it doesn't matter whether you're a politician, you're a scientist, you're a musician. One of the things I mentioned in the book is that the fundamental principles of personal achievement are the same, irrespective of your walk of life. The same way a musician has to be creative in their thinking is the same way a politician needs to be creative in their thinking. The reason why we have a lot of problem in the community today, we have a lot of problem with governance today, is because some of the leaders don't think creatively, right? In solving social issues, people need to be creative in their thinking. People need to, for example, a lot of people are in politics today just because of maybe the fame or the money or whatever they're going to get from it. It's not their life's work. So, and one of the things that we've been encouraged to do from the book is to find our life's work so that we can work in the area of our gifting and the area of our potential, right? So it doesn't matter whatever walk of life you're in, this book is for everyone. And I was very clear in the book to say the only class of people that this book is for are those people who would intentionally direct the course of their lives. So if anybody wakes up today and says, hey, I'm done trying. I want to be in control now. I want to have an input in the trajectory of my lives. I want to be part of what my life turns out to be tomorrow. Then the book is for you.
Thank you, Dele. That's a fantastic way to answer that question. So to the person that asked the question, I hope you got the answer that you're looking for. And if you actually know people who wants to go into politics, please do them a favor. Get them a copy of this book, because we need leaders who truly know what they are doing. I'm looking through the chat. I don't see any net new question, but I just want to say I'm seeing people who have said, I bought 2 copies. So I've got 4 copies of this book already. So the links are still there in the chat. If you haven't gotten your copy yet, please go ahead, click on any of those links that will work for you. And like I said earlier, Dr. Dele is making provision for people who want autographed copies of those books. There's another link in the chat there where you can just provide us with some details, and we'll be able to make sure that you get autographed copies of the book. Again, please get in the chat. You see the links there. I see Dr. Shajobi putting up his hand. Please go ahead. I guess you have a question.
Sure. Thank you, Fisayo. So Dele, congratulations once again. So want to follow up with my final thought during the panel section. So is there any plans in the works for a workbook that will be helpful? That's number one. Number 2 question is that I was really inspired seeing Iniolua read part of this book. I've got a copy for my son, and I'm just thinking about, do you think this book will be something that, teenagers, preteens, can read, or do you have any plans to write probably a simplified version for children and teenagers?
Thank you very much. I still remember last year, this is the same way I was put, I won't say under pressure, because some people know too much about me that they can put me on the spot right away. So on the workbook, I haven't got any plan as at this moment to do a workbook, but I will begin to think about it now that you're mentioning it. Again, it's not a guarantee. I know, Tolu, we talked about this in the course of doing the book, and one of the easier route I went is to create a discovery question for every chapter, and I have what I call a reflection question or something like that. There is a long list in the bonus at the back that has 57 fundamental questions that I believe if you can answer those questions genuinely, and you can answer those questions honestly, you are on your way to doing remarkable things in life. So I thought it was a way out, but it's becoming obvious that we need to rethink this and come up with something. Now, talking about the teens and the preteens, the book is for adults, and generally we think adults begin at 18. But I also remember, and Tolu, you may remember this growing up in Ibadan in those days, that before we clocked the age of 18, there were great books that we'd read. Like I read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich as a teenager. I read so many books as a teenager. We did not understand all of the contents of the book in those days, but we still picked a few things along the way, and those became a foundation for us. So I will encourage any teenager that is interested in having a head start in life to read the book just the way it is. We don't need to create a version for teens. The language that was used there are broken down to very simple languages. There are no big grammars in the whole book. It's a language that everybody can easily relate with. And I encourage anyone that is a teenager to start to read it. I've encouraged Nilua to pick it up. She's a teenager and she will read it. Even TY at this time can read it. You know, we can all read the book. And as we grow, again, if we use the book as a workbook, we can keep them. I have books that I've kept for over 20 years, and I still keep it today, right? So we can give them copies of their book so that as they grow up, they grow with those kind of information, and it serves as a foundation for them. But right now, we don't have any plan to make the teens version of it. But if you know an editor that can work with us to create a teens version, of course, why not?
Thank you very much, Dele. I know if I leave you, you will continue on and on with that question. I just want to say that we're almost coming to the end of the event today because this is one critical piece of the event. I mean, being able to ask questions. Again, just to mention that we have door prizes, we have lots of prizes, and I'm going to pop up a few questions now that we would all interact and answer. The way we'll do it is we'll get into the chat and we'll look at the fastest finger. The fastest finger to answer the question correctly will be winning some prizes that Ruth will be telling you behind the scenes what they are. There are quite a few prizes to be won today, and you know, let's see how that goes. But you know, before I jump into that, I've got one more question for you, Dr. Ola, and this question is from Tolu, Abi, and Son. So you're getting a whole generation like asking you this question, and the question is in two parts. I think the part B of it you've answered partially, but you know, you don't need to spend too much time on it. The first question is, was it harder to write the second book? And this is knowing fully well that this time last year, we did the same book, and then you said there's something coming up next year, and then you did it. And the second part of that question, if you can put it together, is what inspired you to make it personal leadership, not other general leadership book?
Okay, those are big questions. Was it harder to write the second one or the first one? So I would say that the second one for me was a bit more challenging, and it's because of a reason, again, that I try to address in chapter 6 being a favorite chapter also on creative thinking. And I mentioned there that one of the reasons many of us are not innovative is because as we grow up, we jettison our ability to think creatively. So children, for example, are very imaginative. They are not constrained by the same thing that constrains us. They know much less. And because they don't know much, they can take the risk, they can imagine, they can believe anything. But as we grow up and we face the facts of life, as we begin to know too much, as we begin to acquire those experiences, the experience begins to kind of shape the way we think, and it constrains our imagination. So I think writing the second book, because I have the first one, was a little bit challenging for me because now I thought I have experience. So there were certain mistakes I made in the first time I was writing that I didn't want to make in the second time. So that kind of stretched me a little bit. When I was writing the first one, I didn't have a lot of experience. I was just writing I just wrote from my heart the way I felt. But the second time, I felt like I was too organized. I felt I was too constrained in the way I was thinking. So that was a challenging part. But eventually, because of the content of the book itself, I was able to free myself out of that. And the truth is that the second book actually took me, I would say, more than 3 times the amount of time that it took me to write the first one. Even though the first one was fantastic and it won first place in a business award, right? So now going to the second question, I'm trying to remember what the second question is.
So what inspired you to make it personal leadership?
Personal leadership,
general leadership.
And not general leadership. So now in the corporate world, there are lots and lots and lots and lots of books. But the truth is that you can teach whatever you like about teamwork, teach whatever you like about leadership, teach people 7 steps to become a successful leader, 16 ways to lead the world. Teach all of that. If the individual themselves are not successful, you still cannot be successful out there. So this is the way it works. It is the change within that drives the change without. And again, in the book, I was clear about that. If somebody has not undergone that process of personal change and imbibing the culture of people that are successful, they cannot influence the world. And I will give you an example. Many people don't know this. I wrote this book because there is something that people don't know. In trying to promote this book, I told you that we got a lot of notes, and some of them were painful. And actually, I got someone that told me that, oh, you know, I don't care about any kind of books, that I don't need those books too. And these are people that are leading other people, like corporate leaders, people in organizations, and they don't care about getting knowledge or reading books. And I'm like, where are these people from, right? So that gap is there, the gap on personal leadership. Some people in history have started on that. When you read, again, going back to people like W. Clement Stone, Jim Rohn, Nightingale, Napoleon Hill, all of these people, they've started on that and they've provided a framework for it. But in our contemporary world today, there are still missing pieces, and that is what this book is trying to address. Looking at somebody from their identity to their legacy is very unique. And I think that message is just on its own. So let's focus on the individual. If each one of us gets it right, our society can get it right.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dele Ola. Thank you all for asking all these great questions. And I guess it's my time now to ask you questions. So if you missed that part of the chat before, this is the time to pay attention and, you know, to watch your screen very closely. I will be putting up some questions on your screen right now. And, you know, I just want to see who are the people who have been paying attention, or who are the people that knows a little bit more about Dele himself or things around him. So here we go. If you are ready, let me just see you type something in the chat. Let's see who's ready. Who's ready for the questions? Who's ready? Who's ready? Okay, here's the very first question. Dele used an analogy of a house to describe life's blueprint in chapter 3 of Pursuit of Personal Leadership. Mention any 3 of the 4 pillars of the house. I'm watching the chat closely now. Watching the chat closely now. If you have your book and you're opening, no, don't say, just type. Okay.
You have to type the 3 together.
Well, we'll try to watch. If someone's trying to play the fastest finger, we'll see. And Ruth is watching closely. She's checking. Do you have any correct answers yet?
It seems it's Damola that seems to have the 3 together. Yes.
Okay. There we go. So here they are. Gifts and talents, passions, plans, people. Thank you, thank you. Very good one, very good one. Next question. When Dele is not listening to gospel music, whose song is he likely to be listening to? Mention the musician's name. Now, this, you need to know. I see, I see. Yes, these are the people that truly know him. Chief Commander.
We got the winner. I don't know how many. I don't know how many Benga we have, but someone named Benga is the fastest finger.
Yes, that's him. So if Dele is not listening to
guess which Benga is listening.
That's what he's listening to. Next question. Chapters are in Dele's first book, Be a Change Agent. Watching the chat to see who remembers. Someone's guessing 7, maybe. Someone said 11, 12, 13. I love all those wonderful guesses. The answer is there are 11 chapters. 11 chapters in the first book, and which just goes to say, hey, the book is still very much available. Please feel free to order the first book as you're ordering the second one as well. Thank you. Next question. Dele discussed 5 needs of a winning team in Be a Change Agent. Mention any 2 of the 5.
The top one.
I'm watching.
People will be pulling their books from the shelf.
It's been a while. I feel you.
Okay.
Okay.
You have to give this one away.
Visionary leadership, a culture that supports positive change, a roadmap, a measure, a reward, and recognition system. How many original quotes from Dele are included as callouts or sidebars in pursuit of personal leadership? Now, this is an interesting one.
You can guess. I'm thinking.
Yes. Just a guess.
The closest number.
3, yeah, good guess. 17, 13. Keep them coming. 22, 14. I'll take 2 more guesses. 30. Someone thinks Dele's just quoting them from right and center.
Keep coming.
All right. Drum roll, please. I will reveal the answer. 58.
Oh, someone was very close.
58. So I think it's going to 57. Joy.
That's Joy.
That's very good. Very good. And I think I have one more question to go. Dele publishes the Pro's Leadership newsletter. How many issues of the newsletter have ever been published? We'll go for the closest number again. I have just one more question after this one. 15, 47, 32, 4, 10, 14, 15. All right, 5 seconds to go. 4, 3, 2, 1. 28. There were 28 of them. 28. So the closest number to that That's like 20.
It's 22.
22. And the final question for
Yes.
door prizes will be name the author of Atomic Habits. This is one of the books that took, the world by surprise. The last 18 months, I think. So many people have read this book. James Clare, there we go. There we go. There we go. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating in that. Ruth was tallying all the correct answers and was looking at all the people that answered correctly. She will reach out to you, and then we will send your gifts across. There are great gifts on the way to you. And in closing, I want to turn it over to Dr. Ola one more time. He's just got a few thank yous to do before we finally wrap up today. Over to you, Dr. Dele Ola.
Thank you so much, Fisayo, and thank you for everyone for listening. So I'll make it short, my note of thanks to everyone. And I'll start with my family. My wife has been part of the journey. You can say that we wrote the book together. You know how it works. So we do all these things, everything about prowess, leadership, and all of that we do together. We're a team, and we work together as a team. And I couldn't have asked for a better team member ever in my life. Thank you so much for what you've done. Inelua, she's done a lot. In this book, you will see 3 figures as we go along. You'll see the picture of a house, and also another one in chapter 5 when I was talking about life's work. The original drafts of those figures were initially made by Inelua, and then she turned them over to Uncle Deji, Deji Oni, who then put a professional touch to the figures. So we work together. I want to thank Isheolua too. I remember when I was writing the book, I would be in the office in the basement, and Isheolua would come occasionally to check on me and say, "Hey, Daddy, how are you doing? Here is banana, you are hungry. Here is plantain you can eat." And he would always bring me food and would say, "Hey, I know you are busy, but I'm just checking on you." And that in itself is a lot. So thank you very much. I want to thank my parents. They are on the call today. I've seen them on the call. They are sitting down there and enjoying the day. Thank you so much for supporting me. I understand you are behind the scenes, but not behind the scenes also. There is a lot that goes on behind the scenes that many people may not know. So I want to thank you very much. And also my siblings, Wale Ola and his family, and Kunle Ola and his family. Thank you so much for all the support and the common destiny that we share together. I want to thank those who took the time and the pain to scrutinize the ideas in this book. You've listened to all 4 of them. I'm talking of the person of Remi Adedapo, Fred Doan, Tolusha Jobi, and Amos Fatokun. All these people, they did very wonderfully for me. I couldn't have asked for a better group of friends or family to support me through the journey. I'm so very grateful to you. I also want to thank 2 more people. If you look on the back of the book, you will see that there are testimonials or words of praise. Apart from the one from Dr. Amos Fatokun, you will see Marilyn Allen, who is the president of Allen Literary Agency in New York, and also Chris Dyer from Talent Talk radio show. I was with Chris Dyer on his radio show sometime last year, and we connected since that. I talked to them about the book. They loved the book. They reviewed the book. They sent me testimonials, and we are putting them on the back of the book. I'm grateful to you. Those who provided additional review, if you look at the book front cover and it looks so beautiful and you like the concept, the abstract, the light at the center, how everything came together, they were vetted by a group of people that included my daughter Inelua, Remi Adedapo was part of it, Afolabi Egbewande was part of it, Kunle Ola and Okpe Ola, they were part of it. I have all this group of people that helped me to just look through. Tolusha Jobi, you all reviewed, we looked at it together. We had 3 mock-ups, and then we had to choose which one is the best and what do we tweak, how do we make this to really flow with the team. I'm grateful to you. And to today's MC, Fisayo, you are more than a friend. I know we are family. This is not just friendship, it's family also. But I just want to let you know that I'm very grateful to you. I thank you because we are doing this over and over again. and you are not tired every time I run to you and say, hey, we've caused another thing here. Fisayo will say, don't worry about it, we got it, and we're going to do it. We've done so many things together in the past, and I'm sure that we still have a whole future ahead of us. Thank you. And I want to thank everyone on the call today. I may not be able to mention everyone's name just because of time. I want you to know that before this meeting, I already reviewed all of the list of attendees. I know everyone that is here. We have a list of everybody that attended. Those that have come in and have left, we know who you are. We have all the records. And I want to say that I thank you very much. We couldn't have done this without you. We couldn't have put this through without you. I'm so very grateful. So like everyone has said, I don't need to sell the book to you again or to say buy the book. You've heard from a lot of people. Pick your copies of Pursuit of Personal Leadership and go back to be a change agent. That book is hot and it's still very hot till now. Many people are saying great things about the book. Go ahead, buy the book. Don't buy for yourself alone, buy for your loved ones. And Fisayo also emphasized the importance of leaving book reviews. How many of you would want to buy a product on Amazon, but you want to go and look at the rating, look at the review? What did somebody say about it? How good is the product? That is how it helps other readers to make their decisions. So don't let us contact you one-on-one to ask you to do the review. I know you will do it. So thank you very much, everyone. I'm just very grateful to be surrounded by so wonderful people. And that's my note of thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you once again, Dele, and a massive, massive thank you to every one of you for staying back and hanging in there throughout the event today. We are very grateful. See, I'm just saying, these books that you're seeing right beside Dele are also up for grabs. So if you're still interested in having autographed copies and you happen to live in Winnipeg, trust me, you can just reach out and grab one of those that is there. But thank you for the support for Dele Ola and his family over the years as well. That brings us to the end of the official part of the event. And, for friends that still want to hang around and, say hellos and, have a chat, we will still leave the Zoom link open such that you can still continue to do that. But once again, thank you all for being part of this and enjoy the rest of your weekend.